Thank you very much, Alex. Dear ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, I would like to first of all thank the Jamestown Foundation and Glenn and Vladimir for giving me this opportunity to speak about the Southern Gas Corridor from Azerbaijani perspective. Today I'm planning to speak about the natural gas production potential in Azerbaijan, to explain why the Italian market was chosen and look at the commercial and political backgrounds of this decision, and to see what is next, what will be the next stage of the mega project. With this slide, I am trying to show that the gas in place in Azerbaijan, so apart from the gas, like 16 BCM of gas coming from Shah Deniz, second phase of Shah Deniz, there is a so-called future generation fields that currently under development in Azerbaijan on the various stages, based on the PSA agreements that will contribute significantly to the gas production in Azerbaijan, and it's expected then from 2020 or 2025 at the latest, the gas production in Azerbaijan will reach some 45-50 BCM per annum, and the exported volume to Europe will be doubled by probably 2025 when this gas will come online. However, I should mention that this will depend on the availability of drilling rigs, because this is currently a problem in Azerbaijan, and it needs to be invested in this kind of rigs. So, and also it depends on the development of those fields, but as I said, it's expected to be online from 2020 to 2025. So I think everyone's interested in the question why the Italian market. Is it the best market from commercial point of view? Well, it's not a secret, I think, to anyone sitting in the room that Italian market is oversupplied, and the situation of oversupply with the Italian market started from mid 2000s, when there was a rapid rising of supply, and there was a decline in gas consumption in the country, which started in the mid 2000s, and this led to the situation of oversupply in the market. But however, paradoxically, during the winter time, the country is at risk to face the periodic supply shortage, because Italy is very much dependent on a gas supply, gas-fired power plants, and the residential sector is also pretty much dependent on gas. So also the dependence of the country on 90% dependence on the country on foreign suppliers, and out of this, Italy depended on just two countries, Russia and Algeria, up to 50%. With regard to the price, it's one of the best commercially viable market in Europe, because as you see in this chart, this is the in the chart, its chart illustrates that the hub prices in Europe. This is where the price is highest in Europe, and Italy is among the countries where hub price is the highest. But apart from that, the pipeline price is also one of the highest in the country. As you know, in January this year, Gazprom did a significant discount for all its European customers, including Italy. So before the discount, the gas price in Italy was $440 per 1,000 cubic meter, which is one of the most expensive gas. And then after the discount, the price stands at $404 per 1,000 cubic meter. Italy needs to replace some volume of gas, some 7.7 BCM of gas due to the declining of the production, and it's estimated that every year the 10% of production is declining in the country. Apart from them, from the supply security reasons, Italy trying to replace some volume of gas coming from Algeria and Libya. Some long-term contracts with, especially with Russia, with Libya and Algeria expiring next decade, and this is another reason for going to this market, because there can be a volume substitution. So Italy can decrease the imported volume from those countries and substitute it with gas coming from Shah Deniz. But as I said from the beginning, Italy's contracted supply commitments exceed current its gas consumption, but this is turned to be an assets for the supplier, for Shah Deniz consortium, as well as for Azerbaijan as a gas producer country. And I explain how it can be an assets going to this market. With regard to the price, when the negotiations started with the potential gas buyers, so the gas supply negotiations, the Shah Deniz consortium faced, I think they faced the pressure from the buyers, because the situation in the market has changed very rapidly, and the gas actually hub indexation started to prevail in the contracts, and there was a pressure to include more percentage of gas hub percentage into the long-term contracts. But the Shah Deniz consortium was quite flexible on that and faced this challenge, I think, quite normal, according to the vice president of SOCAR. So the consortium was flexible, and he said that if the market wants us to link prices to the gas index, we will accept it. And as a result, the a majority of gas contracted price was the gas hub price was included to the long-term contracts. So there are some debates that many upcoming projects in Italy, I put some of them here, it can be a real rival to Shah Deniz gas in the market, because Italy, it's been like a decade that Italy trying to materialize some LNG projects to import more gas, or some other pipeline projects. But I put those projects here just to show that almost all of them are currently on hold due to various reasons, due to some commercial difficulties that currently Italy face, or due to the fact that the Italian government is not authorizing or approving those projects. So, for example, the Galza project that would link Italy with Algeria, this is another additional pipeline via Sardinia with a final throughput of 16 BCM, is currently on hold, and the operator of the project is Algerian Sonatrach, and Algeria put back its final investment decision with regard to the project, because it's awaiting now for better commercial and technical conditions. However, I think the fate of this project may depend on the production in Algeria, and also the rate of Algeria's ability to develop the sufficient future production in excess of its domestic consumption. And this is, I think, at present appears to be questionable. The new LNG projects, I put here some of them, are also currently on hold, because it's never been an easy task for Italy to initiate such a project, to materialize it, because of some financial difficulties. But not only now, also a few years ago, all the regasification projects in the country are standby, or at the best delayed, even if some of them have already been authorized by the country. For example, BG Group's LNG project, so-called Birindisi project, in the southern region of Puglia, it's failed to obtain all the necessary permits for 11 years now, and it was shelved in March 2012. I think I put this Nord Stream line 2 and 4 just, I think it was needless to say about this project, but sometimes I hear some debates that Nord Stream can also go to the, like Russian gas, why Nord Stream can go up to the northern Italian market as well. Well, technically it's possible. As you see in the map, Italy is and then another world is the also best market because it's the best connected with the other northern European markets and other markets. So in the map you can see that Italy is connected with Switzerland, Germany with Switzerland with transit gas, with Germany with so-called TEN pipeline, with Austria with so-called TAG pipeline, and it can go all the way to France. With reverse flow to Norway, even to the UK. So the gas can technically, via the Nord Stream, can be transported to the Italian market, but via all those pipelines I mentioned. But it would be, first of all, would be illogic for Russians to go with this gas to the Italian market, because this gas would appears to be a rival gas for Russian gas in the market. And the second reason is, this pipeline was designed to transport gas to the German market, and it would be commercially not just viable to go all the way to the Italian market to bring this gas that far. So this project, I think, is also is not a rival to Chardonnay's gas in the market. However beautiful this strategy, you should occasionally look at the benefits, right? So the commerciality of all the projects is the most important criteria. I said in the previous slide that the situation of oversupplied in the Italian market is an asset for Chardonnay's consortium and for Azerbaijan, because thanks to the many projects and strategy, the country's energy strategy, Azerbaijan can easily, with the Chardonnay's gas, can easily go to the all the other neighboring countries that Italy actually providing this opportunity to Azerbaijan. So those projects are, for example, SNAMS. SNAM is the company, is the pipeline that transporting gas from the southern part of Italy to the north, and also the reverse flows is also possible. So the SNAMS project, so-called gas regional investment plan for southern corridor for the period of 2012 and 2021, designed for the transporting this gas or gas coming from the southern corridor to the northern part of Italy, and then from there to the neighboring countries. Another plan is GRIP for the south-north corridor region for the same period of time, which covers, apart from Italy, 4 other European countries. And this report includes proposal for infrastructure enhancement for the national networks and increase the market integration, which can be achieved via the cross-border bidirectional flows, by reverse flows from not only from north to the south, but also from south to the north of the country. And this can increase, needless to say, that can flexibility of the European grid and also ensure the supply security for Europe. Another important document in that context is the national investment strategy of the country. This document plans to exploit Italy's geographic position to turn country into transit hub and one of the main transit country by 2020. So in order to reach this objective, currently SNAM is planning to construct a new line up to the Adriatic coast, and this will add some extra 9.7 BCM of gas flow by 2014, as well as 8 BCM of reverse flow to the northern pipeline via TAG, which is connecting Italy with Austria, and as I mentioned, TEN by 2016, which is connecting Italy with Germany. So you can imagine how many possibilities there are with the Italian market to go to all those countries, and especially when there are all the necessary strategic plans and projects that are underway that can give these opportunities to the Chardonnay's consortium. Apart from that, there is a memorandum of understanding between its Italian SNAM and the Belgian Fluxus company, and this project is envisaged to invest in the reverse flows from south to the north of the country, and of SNAM infrastructure, and well, obviously this will enable all the shippers to transport gas from the Mediterranean to the North Sea to all those countries along the pipeline, and this will enable Turkey to export by 2016 to export some 40 mmcm of gas per day. So this is a great opportunity for Chardonnay's consortium. So that was the commercial background of the decision, I think, which is, as I said, the situation with the oversupply of the market is just, I see it as an asset, on the other hand, for the Chardonnay's consortium. But what was the political aspects of such a decision? Well, to me, the Nabucco West pipeline was fraught with many difficulties, not only commercial or financial, but also lack of the political support by the Brussels and Washington, because both Brussels and Washington last few years, they kept just saying that they equally support both pipelines, and this was, I think, this is what Baku at least didn't expect. Also, lack of strategic focus and ability for leadership. This is mainly, I think, came from the Brussels. Last year, actually, we also saw how Gazprom, Microsoft of gas in Europe, challenging the Southern Gas Corridor. That was not only political challenges that Baku faced, but also commercial, because last year Gazprom did a significant discount for its customers in Europe, and that was a great bargaining chip for potential gas buyers. When they were negotiating the gas price with Chardonnay's consortium, they had this chip, and that's why the Chardonnay's consortium had to agree on lower price that it would be probably, if it would be different if they would negotiate, let's say, last year. And also, Italy's national energy strategy stressed that a further increase in gas import capacity is needed for two main reasons: to diversify source of, as I said, currently of Algerian and Russian source, and to increase imports in order to become an exporter to Northern Europe. So what is next? What a year. This year was indeed very important year for the Southern Gas Corridor development. We had a very important decision this June. So what is expecting us this year? This year, probably by 19th of September, there will be signing of gas supply and gas transit agreements with the buyers. All the terms are agreed, but just the agreements is due to be signed in September this year. Then the FID of TANAP will follow. FID of TAP, Trans-Adriatic Pipeline, will follow. The negotiations with the TANAP potential shareholders, another partners of Chardonnay's consortium, are currently being conducted, and I hope that this agreement will be reached anytime soon, because from this agreement, the FID of final investment decision of Chardonnay's second phase depend, and it can, if the agreement is not reached anytime soon, it can negatively affect the FID of Chardonnay's. And then the first gas will flow to Turkey starting from second quarter of 2018, and will reach the European market starting from first quarter of 2019. on the political ground, I think the cooperation with Russia, between Azerbaijan and Russia, will be further improving in energy sector, and we will see some joint projects with between SOCAR and Rosneft. That can be like investment of Rosneft in some upstream projects in Azerbaijan, and well, probably Rosneft will, well, if everything is El Dorado, if everything will go smoothly, then probably Rosneft will do a capacity booking of the infrastructure, SCPX or TANAP, and transport this gas from, let's say, Absheron, because it was mentioned that this upstream project can be Absheron, let's say from Absheron to all the way to the European markets. And to conclude, I think Italy's overcapacity and over-contracted gas supply provide an excellent opportunity to achieve the Shah-Deniz consortium's actually objective to be to penetrate the other markets, neighboring markets in Europe, and also the government's objective to become a gas hub for Southern Europe. And that was also the purpose with Nabucco as well. With going to Baumgarten, Shah-Deniz consortium was planning to reach the other markets in Europe from Baumgarten. So Italy gives us this opportunity. Speaking from the commercial viability of the project, I think for Azerbaijan and Shah-Deniz consortium, that would be much better from commercial points of view to go to the nearby markets, as Mr. Sokor mentioned, namely Turkey, Greece, Bulgaria, and Italy as well, because as was mentioned, the distance is short, and you will not need, and the netback margin was obviously will be higher. And for that, or if SOCAR wants to go as far as to the UK, let's say, because the infrastructure is there, then it should be probably swap operation. And for that, SOCAR needs to create gas trading companies to swap the gas. As I said, after the decision, Azerbaijan is most likely will improve close relations with Russia on energy issues, and there can be some joint projects in Europe as well. The Southeast European market and Balkans will remain under the Microsoft of gas monopoly at the last, probably next decade. With regard to the Europe, Europe clearly failed, I think, delivering the solution of biggest scale to establish the direct link between, dependent on a single source of the Central and Southeast European market with the Caspian region, and it resulted in more cautious actions of nations to the east of the Caspian Sea, dealing with Brussels-supported energy infrastructure projects. As per the U.S. policy towards further expanding its influence in the so-called backyard of Russia, as well as establishing East-West energy corridor, not quite succeeded either, and the fourth biggest natural gas reserves owner, Turkmenistan, left without the direct link to Europe. And I think it to result in turning of Turkmenistan rather towards China. So I stop here. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Gulmira.